Hey, it's May 16th, and we find ourselves back in the Psalms once again. What keeps you awake at night? For many, it's worry. Worry about the things in life that are beyond our control. Today's 6 Psalms are all written by King David. They focus on David's unwavering trust in God that resulted in a peace that allowed him to sleep really well at night, regardless of the difficulties that he faced. In Psalm 3, which David wrote about or when he was fleeing from Absalom, as well as Psalm 4, David cried out to God to save him. David was so confident that God would save him that in Psalm 3, verses 5 and 6, he says, "I lay down and slept. I woke again, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of many thousands of people who have set themselves against me all around." And in Psalm 4, verse 8, David says, "In peace I will both lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." David could sleep peacefully at night because he knew that God was his protector, his shield. In Psalms 12 and 13, David felt like he was the only person left following God in Israel. Psalm 12 opens with, "Save, O Lord, for the godly one is gone, for the faithful have vanished from among the children of man." To him, it seemed like everyone else lied, flattered each other falsely, and boasted about how powerful they were. It reminds me of Absalom, who for 4 years pretended to be David's faithful son while he was slowly turning Israel against him. Meanwhile, the poor and the needy are taken advantage of. But David knows that God still protects the godly. In Psalm 12, verse 7, he says, "You will guard us from this generation forever." And in Psalm 13, verses 5 and 6, he says, "But I have trusted in your steadfast love. My heart will rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me." In Psalm 28, David cried out to God for mercy and asked God to deal with the wicked according to their deeds. And then he affirmed that God was his strength and his shield once again. And in Psalm 55, David asked God to deliver him from his enemy. But this time, David's enemy is someone who used to be a close companion. They lived life together. But in verses 20 and 21, David said, "My companion stretched out his hand against his friends. He violated his covenant. His speech was smooth as butter, yet war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords." This reminds me of Absalom. David still trusted God for protection and strength and asked God to bring an end to this friend turned enemy to stop their evil. So what can we take away from today's Psalms? First, God is our strength and protector. David knew that God was protecting him. It gave him the strength to endure and peace that allowed him to sleep at night, worry-free. Second, sometimes we feel like we're the only ones following God, but that's not true. David felt it, even though when he fled from Absalom, his whole household was with him, and there were friends back in Jerusalem that were looking out for him. You and I have felt it, even though our church family and our pastors are always there for us. There are always others following God along with us. So even when we feel like no one else is following God, we need to continue too. And third, people will disappoint us, but God never will. Someone that David thought was a friend betrayed him and God. God will deal with the wicked according to their deeds. What happens to them is not something that we need to worry about. My prayer for us today is that we learn to completely trust in God and his control in all things, especially when it seems like things are way out of control. That we would know that God gives us strength to endure, even in the most difficult times. And that we experience the peace that comes from trusting God, a peace that allows us to sleep well at night. If you haven't done so already, please download a Through the Bible reading plan at asperrycommunitychurch.org/throughthebible. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.